Alrighty, all good. How you going? We're kind of going back to an old style video I haven't done in ages, although I used to do these quite a bit. Kind of an old list video of things that Americans wouldn't understand or don't get about Australia when living there or even visiting. Now, in this case, it's actually Canadian, which people always remind me on this channel that Canadians are Americans too. And yes, I agree. It's all North America. And this was sent in by email saying that this is one of the better videos on some different things that you don't see in other videos like this. So I'm pretty excited about that. That email was sent in by Jocelyn, by the way, so I do appreciate that. Now, of course, we will look at parts of this video. The whole thing you can see entirely with the link down below, and you can visit the channel. That channel being Cassie is the name. So let's go ahead and jump into this. This should be fun.
So some of these are going to be just specific to Queensland and the Gold Coast, and then some of these are kind of just Australia in general. So let's get started. So the very first thing that was super weird is that they call their green and red peppers capsicum.
Oh yeah,
and
I remember learning that.
I'm gonna spell that out for you here. Capsicum.
Yeah.
I went to...
Yeah, you'll never see that here. I only learned that from you guys, literally. And it's not just that. I think a lot of different food items are slightly different or have a completely different name. And that's one thing that when traveling or moving somewhere different that you don't account for. So like, obviously, from my perspective, living in Australia, would be awesome. And of course, there would be some similarities. Like, of course, I wouldn't have to learn a new language. English is spoken in both the United States and Australia very prevalently. But of course, there is actually differences. I think we can all kind of agree that Australian English is quite different to what you would find in the US, but they are quite different. And so, you know, go into certain restaurants or maybe, you know, the store to go shopping, you might run into a couple hiccups where it's like, why can't I find this? But it's actually called something else there. I can see that being pretty funny.
And I was trying to order like half a sub.
Case in point.
And I was picking out my vegetables and I was like, oh, green peppers. And they're like, what? And then my boyfriend told me they're not called green peppers, they're called capsicum. And I was like,
wow.
Ew, okay, can I have some capsicum? So that, I don't know why they call it differently here. Maybe we're calling it wrong from Canada. But
yeah, I don't think there's a wrong way. Capsicum sounds like it's more of an official name of like the actual maybe plant it comes from or something. But pepper, in my opinion, it does sound better and it's easier to say, rolls out easier. I don't know,
yeah, I
but
just thought that was
we're all used to what we're used to.
Number two, hot dogs here are not called hot dogs. They're called snags. S-N-A-G-S.
Oh yeah, I knew that, yeah.
And a snag is pretty much a wiener in a piece of toast. So I'll insert another picture right here showing.
Yeah, that is funny. But honestly, again, I always say these look delicious, like they actually do. Also, I'm pretty sure you guys do have what we would call hot dogs, though. Like the hot dog, all the toppings, and then an actual hot dog bun. I'm pretty sure you have those in Australia. They might not be as popular or, you know, whatever, like here, you know, as here in the US.
Now on to the third thing that's really weird. So when I first got here, I needed to use transit as most people would. And I saw this sign, I'll insert a video clip of the bus stop having a sign that says, please wave down your bus driver.
Whoa, how have I never heard of this? Okay, here we go. Bus stop hail driver with the diagram. I've never heard of that. Bus stops I thought just had their set stops and they pulled up to it no matter what. I mean, I've heard of hailing, you have to hail taxis here. But I've never heard of hailing a bus.
And I was like, what? Don't they just stop when they see?
Yeah, what's the bus stop and a sign for that?
Someone at the stop? But no, that's not how it works here. If you don't physically wave down the bus like this, they're not gonna stop for you. That way they don't have to like make accident stops when those people are actually getting on a different bus, so that kind of situation wouldn't happen.
Like, is that just in her region? Is this like something that's all Australia-wide, or is this just like a Brisbane thing or a Queensland thing? You have to let me know about that.
Okay.
But that's definitely
another weird
different.
thing about the buses, first of all, they're huge, and after I got into one, I was like, okay, it's really nice and spacious.
Buses look
nice
great,
and
man.
Air conditioned. I like it. But the thing
I have not been on a boy. I've not been on a city bus in literally couldn't tell you long time, years upon years upon years. But that's not a very fair comparison. But from what I remember, it was not as nice as that.
What really threw me off is
that one looked good.
Here in the Gold Coast, they don't tell you what stop is next. So you know how buses usually have like a little, I don't know, LED light thing that will scroll and then tell you, okay, next stop is King
They have it on the outside and on the inside. It'll tell you where it's going next.
Edward or something like that. But no, they don't have that here. It's literally just bus stopping and that's it. So you have to really pay attention to how many stops you're going past, or else you could easily miss your stop because you're never gonna know what stop you're at. And I don't understand how that works. As a millennial, teenager, young adult technically, not a young adult anymore, we have Google Maps. You know, like I always have Google Maps open, double checking how many stops are left, so I know where to get off or like when to click the stop.
Yeah, like look, at the end of the day, I'm not against like people, knowing their surroundings and, of course, always learning or knowing how to use maps and how to use even their phone properly and having to pay attention to things. Like, I'm not against that. That's good, right? That's like regular life skills that we should all, know and know how to deal with. But to be fair, that is weird. So there's like a lot of things I've learned over the years about Australia where it's like, oh, wow, that's pretty smart. Like, you guys are way ahead of us on that, right? And that goes for a lot of things, especially even with transportation and infrastructure and streets and stuff. But that's one where it's like totally the opposite. Like, whoa, why? It's such a simple convenience, right? Why not show where the bus is going? Our transportation in the U.S. is horrible. It's like kind of famous for being bad. But like our buses do show you where it's going. So that's weird, right? Like, how are we ahead of you on that?
Button. But then what if you're like an elderly person? You get on the bus, you're trying to get to whatever station. You have no idea what stop it is because, first of all, the bus stop itself doesn't have like a big sign that tells you what stop it is. And the bus also doesn't tell you what stop it is. So how would you know where to get on and where to get off? Like, I just don't understand the logic, but it seems like everyone still uses it just fine. If you are...
Yeah, I wonder if she is just new and maybe not. I wonder if she's missing something. If you want to sort that out in the comments, if you see any plot holes with that logic, let me know. Because I'm not knocking on the bus system there. I'm not knocking on her. But it sounds like from her perspective, it's a little complicated, and I feel like it's probably not complicated, or it shouldn't be.
So I went to the mall when I first got here, and I noticed people were carrying shopping carts everywhere they went, like all throughout the mall. Like you could take a grocery store shopping cart from the grocery store, pack it in with all your groceries that you just bought, and then roll it into Aritzia, for example, and go shopping for clothes in there, and then add bags that you bought from Aritzia, and then go to like a jewelry store or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that is different. Shopping malls, again, if you didn't know, were like huge in the U.S. They're not so much now. They're pretty much dying out, but like there's still some big malls, especially in Illinois where I'm at. Like Illinois was kind of known as like the mecca of malls. So we still have some big malls hanging on, but I've never seen shopping carts in them. That's weird. You picture people walking with their friends and holding the bags on their arms. They got bags from all these different stores. Obviously, we don't have our grocery stores in malls either. They're all, like anything but a grocery store, basically. So supermarkets and grocery stores would be separate. They might be close by, but they're not in the same building. So yeah, I've heard that, I think, before also with Australia, that you guys have some malls where the grocery stores are connected. But it is weird to think about that you would see people shopping in other like regular stores and malls, and they have a shopping cart.
This is very weird.
It sounds actually convenient, but it also sounds like it might get, if the mall is crowded, having carts in the mix might kind of get in the way as well.
I really, really like it because sometimes you're
it does sound like a net positive overall.
And this just allows you to buy all the shit you need, and then you just roll that cart from every single store back to your car, and then you can kind of just leave it on the side somewhere, and all these cart collectors will come every couple of hours to just collect all those carts and replenish them.
Leave it on the side. Hopefully there's a cart corral.
Love that.
Don't want to just leave it there like an ass. I see people do that too much here.
They have tiny light switches here. When I first saw them, I was like, why did they make them so small? It's just so much harder to press compared to like what we have back in Vancouver, and I'll show you guys.
You know, someone's mentioned this a long time ago, but they never showed it. I'm glad she's going to show this.
For example, this is how it looks like.
What?
Focus.
What the hell is this? The on and off? Why is there two?
Yes. You see how small
Or is it two different lights?
And like sometimes when you're in a rush and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go and turn on the light. It's
Those
just
are
like,
so weird.
It's so small. Only one finger nail can go on it to turn it.
Okay, so again, let's make a pros and cons list. Let me show you what ours look like. That is so weird. I'm gonna take a picture. I'm right by one. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture of that. Okay, I have something covering part of it, like decoration, but you can see basically the whole thing. So there it is right there. Okay, so you see the design. You know, you just flip it, you know, off, on, and you can bump it, you can tap it with any part of your fingers, your body. It's pretty easy to use, right? Didn't think that would vary at all, really, anywhere in the world, but apparently it does. And I have to say it's a rare occurrence because I love learning about other places. I'm very quick to give Australia kudos and credit when they, you know, awesome ways of doing things, smart ways of doing things, when they're, you know, beating us at stuff. I'm the first to cheer you guys on. But this is a rare one, again, where I kind of agree with her that the one I'm looking at in my room here, this makes much more sense. These are just so small. And they also look like look at how up that is. So you have to really push that down, and you have to connect right here and get this down like quite a ways. So in other words, you know, in a rare situation where you might have your hands full and you need to turn something on, like with your elbow or shoulder or something, this doesn't look like it's going to work well. You know, maybe it's a little harder to operate if you tell, you know, your kid, hey, can you turn the light on real quick? Yeah, I mean, look, it's not a big deal, but it's weird. I actually prefer our light switches.
On and off. So I kind of miss what we have back at home.
Why are they so small? Can anyone explain how this design got here? It's very bizarre.
The next thing, number
I'm interested.
13, is how large their coins are. Like, they're freaking huge. The 20-cent coin is...
I've gotten cent coins from you guys. Thank you so much. They are bigger. I think they're pretty cool. But they're massive. Very robust.
I'm gonna like insert pictures to my right so you guys can see.
Yeah.
But in Canada, our larger coins are like the $1, $2, you know, because they have more value to them.
It's pretty much how ours work too.
50 cents, like, sorry, we don't have 50 cents, but like 25 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents. It just gets smaller and smaller. But then here, it's flipped. Here, the dollars and $2, they're actually the smallest coin.
Yeah, I agree. It's just that I'm not used to it, and she's probably not used to it either. You know, in my opinion, I do think it makes more sense if like the $1 and $2 coins are bigger. So it's a little bizarre that they're so much smaller than like the 50 cent or the 20-cent piece. But again, I mean, is it a huge deal? No, there might be reasons for it. And if not, people get used to it, and I don't think it's a big deal. But if you're feeling around in, you know, your jacket pocket or whatever, you're looking quick in the center console of your car, you know, I think it would be nicer to know like the bigger coins or the bigger denominations, but that isn't always the case. I mean, it is for the cents, but not for the dollars, right? So
coins, they're like tiny little coins.
Again,
and then
not a huge
smaller,
deal.
So this is about like job related field stuff. So if you work a Saturday, you get time and a half. So first of all, their minimum wage here is like 19-20 bucks, which is amazing.
Damn.
So if you work Monday to Friday, just a regular job, you would get like $20 as like a base level. And then if you work a Saturday, you get time and a half. And then if you work a Sunday, you get double time.
Wow. See, that's a big win. That's a big win. I am always a little hesitant to jump on like the, whoa, you guys get paid so much. Like, I know cost of living can be really high. So if you're, you know, a young person getting paid $20 an hour, but you're in like Sydney, I mean, dude, look at how expensive it is there, right? Unfortunately, that's not going to be great in my opinion, but it depends on where you're at. Just like here in the US, our minimum wage is not federally mandated, so it's state to state. Some states have really high minimum wage. Some states have almost comically low minimum wage, but you know, those states tend to be really cheap. And somewhere like California that has a high minimum wage, well, California is unbelievably expensive and most people can't afford to live there. So unfortunately, the minimum wage there doesn't matter, right? Like, it's not enough to live well. But I think it's awesome that that's like federally all like everywhere in Australia. That is a great base to start out with. Also, what you guys do really well hearing that is that it sounds like that applies to basically any job. If you work weekends, you get the big time increase in pay, time and a half or double time. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. And of course, if you work for a good company, it's hard to find a good one, a good company here in the US, you can find benefits like that. But it's not standard. So you might have people working 6 or 7 days a week and they don't get any bonus time for that if they're at a crappy job. And I think that's kind of crazy. That is a complete W that you guys have the weekend bonuses. It totally makes sense. And I wish we had something like that here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. That was actually really good. And there's plenty of points that I didn't even show here. So please use the link down there. Check her whole video out uninterrupted and see what we missed here. That was a good video. Thank you for the email. It was indeed a lot of different points, or an expansion of some points I've heard before, more in depth, like with the light switch and, you know, how the bus stops work and stuff. Like, a lot of fascinating things that I haven't heard, and I haven't really done a video like this in a while anyway, so this was a good learning experience and even a refresher for some other points. As always, this is going to be a great video for comments, so let me know down below, you know, if you disagree with any of these points or want to expand on some of them or explain some of the points that were made. I thought it was entertaining and educational. I appreciate you watching. I hope you had fun as well. It's going to be it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker, and until next time, y'all. Catch you later.